2021, when crossing the aisle elicits this.
I hope you die. I hope everybody in your family dies.
Congressman Fred Upton is here to talk about it. Vaccine boosters are available, so are vaccines for children, but the latest assessment of COVID in Michigan is ominous. And the 30th anniversary of heartbreak and bravery in Royal Oak. Today is Sunday, November 14th, 2021, and this is Flashpoint.
Hi there, and welcome to Flashpoint. It was nearly midnight late last Friday night when the president's infrastructure bill finally mustered the votes and passed through Congress. He'll sign it tomorrow, in fact, just ahead of a visit on Wednesday here to Detroit. But the bill is a stark reminder of our caustic and toxic political divide. For the 6 Democrats who voted against and the 13 Republicans who voted for, it's been a week of profane death threats and condemnation. Republican Fred Upton will be here in a moment to talk about it. Also today, where is the corner on the pandemic? A stark pronouncement from Beaumont Hospital this past week. Ahead this morning, we'll talk it over with the new chief medical officer for the state of Michigan. And today marks 30 years since a horrendous day in Royal Oak. In 1986, a postal worker shot up the post office in Edmond, Oklahoma. And then a few years later, it happened at the post office in Royal Oak. Maybe you've forgotten where the term going postal came from. We haven't. And we'll look back today at that day on Flashpoint.
Hope you die. Hope your family dies. Hope everybody in your staff dies. You piece of traitor.
That's just part of the now well-circulated phone call that came into Michigan Congressman Fred Upton after his vote in favor of the infrastructure bill. Upton has been in Congress for more than 30 years, and this, he says, is the worst political climate he's ever seen. It is very good to have Congressman Upton back with us on Flashpoint. Fred Upton, you've had quite a week.
We really have. We've had thousands of calls, obviously a number of threats. We passed them on to law enforcement, but even on Friday, one of my colleagues who also voted with me on this bipartisan bill, I think the arrests were made on death threats on him. So such a toxic time. It's not the civility that we'd all like to see for sure. And somehow we have to get through this.
How concerned are you about these threats being more than just phone calls?
Well, they are serious. They're not only serious to me, but to my family, but also to my staff. And, you know, like so many, we started young. I've got young people in my district offices. They're not used to such language. We actually had to close our offices earlier this week just because of the potential for a threat that was there. And obviously, working with law enforcement, I'll say most of these calls are by far coming from out of state, but they're really nasty. They're not just targeted at me. They're at others that voted the same way.
Does it change your thinking on it at all that they aren't your constituents? I mean, those are the people that you're really beheld to. That call we just heard, I guess, came from South Carolina. Does that matter?
No, it really does. It's just such a sad chapter for us to hear it. You know, I've always put policy over politics. Never been afraid to disagree with the president, whether they be Republican or Democrat. That's our system of government. We're not a parliament. Yeah. We're supposed to be looking at all these different issues. And, you know, particularly on this one, the Problem Solvers Caucus, a bipartisan group, met with Governor Larry Hogan last spring. We had senators, governors, House members, Republicans, and Democrats. We defined what infrastructure needs we really need to face and confront. And we also figured out a way to pay for it. And we did it without raising taxes. Frankly, if taxes were on the table, it wouldn't be bipartisan, as certainly all the Republicans would have voted against it. So at the end of the day, this is the bill that passed the Senate 69-30 in August.
Right.
Even Lindsey, President Trump's most ardent Republican U.S. Senator supporter, voted for this in August. And, 3 months later, it was exactly the same bill that we passed a week ago Saturday.
I don't want you to betray any confidences among your fellow Republicans in the Michigan delegation, but in your discussions with them, did you sense that there were problems over the content of this bill, over the actual law that was being written, or were these, because you were the only one in the Michigan delegation of the Republicans who voted in favor, were those other votes against political calculations rather than those about policy?
Well, I don't want to comment on individual members when they vote differently than me. That's for them to describe, not for me to try and muddy the waters or whatever you'd say. But, you know, it's not everybody's in the Problem Solvers Caucus. And, you know, remember the theory or the theme, fix the damn roads? That's Michigan. And that's what this bill tries to do. But in addition to that, you know, we know about water issues. We know about Flint and recent developments here where I am in Benton Harbor. We need these lead service lines replaced. There's $15 billion in this bill to do that. It's not just for, you know, some communities, it's for the country to replace, you know, PFAS contamination at $10 billion. But
right.
We know about our ports. We know about the supply chain issues that we have today. We got to fix our infrastructure if we're going to move forward in the 21st century.
But you are not on board, I don't believe, with what you've seen so far of the Build Back Better bill.
No, I don't support the Build Back Better plan. And frankly, that's where a lot of the confusion from folks across the country is. I had a question earlier today, and they wondered if the $600 transaction fee that the IRS was proposing, every transaction over $600 would be reported to the IRS.
Right.
No, that was not in the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and thank goodness it's even out of the BBB, the Build Back Better plan. But no, I'm not a supporter of the Build Back Better plan. I think it is still going to have enormous hurdles to try and get through the House, let alone the Senate, as we look at that later this year.
I think you're right. I think there's a ton of confusion about what's in each bill. You've also, though, had to get used to the rhino talk, going all the way back to your vote. Well, even before that, I suppose you found yourself often at odds with President Trump at your vote for impeachment. I'm wondering if you've decided yet. Now, we still don't even know what your district will look like a year from now, but we're now less than a year away from the next election day. Have you decided if you've just had enough of this, or are you ready to stay in Congress?
Well, we've never made a decision this early on any of my contests, including the first time that I ran. But you're right. We don't know what the congressional districts are going to look like. Michigan loses again another seat. So we're going to have to wait for that information to come in. But at some point, probably later this year or early next year, we'll make a decision on what we're going to do. But it's too early now, not knowing what the congressional district physically is going to look like. Which
is why it's funny that you already have an opponent already announced, and yet we won't know what your actual district looks like here for a little while. Lastly, you and I and Debbie Dingell have talked quite a bit on this program about political civility. There you are, a Republican or a Democrat, both working toward that aim. And after the week that you've had and the climate that we're watching right now, I'm wondering where you are on the idea of civility. Is it time to give up, or is there a way forward? How do you see us all coming together?
You know, we need it more than ever before. Debbie and I actually did a forum that Brian Calley led in Lansing with the Small Business Association of Michigan on Tuesday this week. Had a good crowd. We talked about civility. You know, we can disagree on the issues agreeably. And frankly, she and I did on the BBB. She's for it. I'm against it. But that's one of the underlying themes of the Problem Solvers Caucus, that we are going to take a pledge to be civil. All of us have done that, and man, we need it better than ever before, particularly with some of these nasty threats like the one that you aired against me earlier this week.
Well, we sure do. Fred Upton, it is always good to have you on the program. I know you've had a really busy week, a lot of people asking for your time. Thanks so much for giving it to us on Flashpoint, and I hope we'll see you soon.
I don't look like a member of Congress. I'm incognito today.
You look very comfortable and jealous. Thanks, Fred Upton. We'll continue with more on Flashpoint right after this.
This year, more than any other, are you certain you have the right Medicare plan? HAP is here, helping you navigate Medicare. Offering Medicare plans with $0 monthly premiums, $0 primary care visits, and $0 on most preventative vaccines. Dental, vision, and hearing coverage, and 24/7 telehealth. Face the future with confidence. Call now. See how HAP is here for you.
Detroit's #1 Black Friday mattress sale is going on now. And it's only at Gardner White. Get the luxurious Beauty Rest Black with its innovative 4.0 cooling system and pocketed coil technology for better sleep. Black Friday priced as low as $1 a day with 0% financing up to 60 months. In stock with free same-day delivery, plus free 50-inch TV, free adjustable base, free $300 MasterCard. It's the biggest Black Friday in our history, only at Gardner White.
After an injury changed his life forever.
Watch Rocker go up in the air, and he comes down on the back of Utley's neck.
Did you ever go to a dark place where you thought, I've had enough?
Former Lion Mike Utley opens up about his struggle to walk again.
You know, hard times don't last. Tough people do.
Exclusively from Utah on Local 4 at 5.
Monday at 5 on Local 4 News.
So we're moving back inside with the weather getting colder. The holidays are pretty much upon us. And before either of those things really happen, we get word this week from the state's largest hospital system that they believe we're moving into now the fourth surge of the coronavirus. Let's talk it over with the state's leading medical officer, Dr. Natasha Bagdasarian. And Dr. Bagdasarian, it's our first chance to have you on Flashpoint. I really appreciate the time today. And let me start with your take. Does Beaumont have it right? Are we starting another surge?
I don't know if I'd say we're at the start of a surge. We are certainly in the thick of things. Cases are continuing to rise. This is a surge, but not the beginning. And I'll say that this surge actually feels quite different than previous ones, because previous surges have been a very rapid increase in cases, and this has been a slow and steady rise since around September.
The other thing that keeps changing as we move forward is we have more and more tools at our disposal. We have the vaccine. We have now a vaccine for children. Unfortunately, our numbers each day as we report the daily totals are not broken down by who has and who hasn't had the vaccine. But that's still where the lion's share of the trouble is, isn't it? People who have not been vaccinated.
Absolutely. What we're seeing is there has been differential uptake in vaccine by age groups. And so when we look at the state overall, things look pretty okay. When we look at ages 16 plus, we can say that we are close to that 70% target that we had talked about so long ago. But when we break it down by age group, what we're actually seeing is that in elderly individuals, so those over 65 or over 75, vaccine uptake has been fantastic. We're looking at vaccine initiation rates close to 86%. And then that drops off as you look at younger age groups. When we look at 12 to 15-year-olds, it's only at about 42% vaccine uptake. And what we saw with this surge is that this surge really impacted children first. So the timing of this was really close to schools being back. And we saw that rise in transmission in 5 to 18-year-olds. And again, until recently, we didn't have a vaccine available for the very youngest among us.
We know from the questions that our Dr. Frank McGeorge receives on a daily basis, we have a lot of parents who are very concerned. They understand that this has been approved, but very concerned about getting out there and being among the first to get their children vaccinated. We have seen quite a few who are, but what would you say to parents who are really worried and hesitant? It's understandable fear, isn't it? It's something else to be thinking about your child as opposed to getting a vaccine for yourself.
Absolutely. And I would say that every parent out there wants to make the best possible decision for their child. And I understand that. I'm a mother of a young child myself. So I understand the fears and the concerns. But what I can say about this vaccine in particular is that the clinical trials were done in over 3,000 children, and there were no serious adverse events, which is really good news. But if we put those 3,000 children on one side for a moment, if we talk about the vaccines overall, they've been given to millions of people across the world. And that data, looking at millions of people across the world, really shows how safe and effective they are.
You have already talked before about, you've kind of lamented the political atmosphere that is infecting the work that you're trying to do. This past week, the New York Times, in their daily podcast, I thought it was very depressing, talked about a lot of public health officials who have left the public health sphere, hundreds and hundreds of them, because they've been undermined or worse, belittled, insulted, and the work that you've done, spent a lifetime accruing, the knowledge that you have is being usurped by a lot of people who obviously don't know anything about medicine and certainly don't know anything about public health. And I'm wondering about your thoughts on the climate that we're in right now when it comes to people like you who have we trust to have the expertise to help us get through this, being turned aside, ignored, or undermined at many turns.
Absolutely. I think it's a huge problem. Not only are we seeing this across the country, but we're seeing this right here in Michigan. We're talking to our colleagues in local public health departments, and they're seeing that they're feeling just burned out. They're dealing with vitriol. They're dealing with a lot of anger. There are school board meetings that have turned really ugly. Yeah. It's really unfortunate. And there are people who are leaving their jobs across the country and in Michigan. So what can we do? I think that this is the time to really think about our communities and to think about strengthening our communities, coming together, and really working towards ending the pandemic based on science and data. None of this should be political.
Let's hope so. Lastly, can you see, we keep wondering when we're going to turn the corner. Can you see the corner?
I think the way we need to think about this is not that the pandemic will all of a sudden one day end. It will be a process. Just like things built up to this point, it'll be a process and things won't happen overnight. But what we will start to see is that COVID will no longer be front and center in our conversations, and we can go back to a more normal way of living. This last year and a half, 2 years has been hard on all of us. I think that we've shared a collective trauma going through this pandemic together. So I think that things will gradually get back to normal, but this is not the time for people to just suddenly forget about COVID. Yeah. The point of time we're in right now is really critical. We have rising rates. We've had rates that have been rising since about the fall. We have a percent positivity that continues to go up, meaning that we need to really do more testing. We have outbreaks happening in K through 12 spaces. And then on top of that, the holidays are around the corner. People will be coming inside, they'll be gathering together, and we've got respiratory virus season heading our way as well. We're already hearing about influenza outbreaks. So while it's very tempting to say, let's just go back to normal right now, we're not quite there. And if we can get through this big surge, maybe on the other end of this, life can look a little bit more the way we want it to. But this fall, I really want to encourage people who have not been vaccinated to get vaccinated. And if you haven't had your flu shot, now's the time to get your flu shot as well.
All great advice. Doctor, thanks. It's so good to have you on the program. Thanks so much, and we will talk to you again soon.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. We'll take a quick break. This is Flashpoint on Local 4.
The holidays are doubly important this year, so make your celebrations doubly special with our award-winning cave-aged Maurice cheese. Kroger. Hey, you're right, we can't stop now. Let's take the special up a level with fresh, never frozen prime beef. Still not special enough? Add some surf to that turf with our sustainably caught seafood. Turn your taste buds up to 11 and have a doubly special holiday with Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
A progressive jackpot that grows with every play. That's what makes Fast Cash from the Michigan Lottery such a thrilling game. The progressive jackpot keeps building and building and building until jackpot. Fast Cash. The fun keeps building.
This is our mobile food pantry. Our great partnership with Forgotten Harvest allows us to serve the community.
I come in to pick up food boxes for the elderly or disabled or people that can't get out to come get food. We love you, Forgotten Harvest.
Forgotten Harvest has been a great blessing to many of us. If you are those who participate in donating to Forgotten Harvest, please don't quit. Keep helping them to help us to survive.
Today marks 30 years since the post office shooting in Royal Oak. Workplace shootings are fortunately still fairly rare, though not nearly as rare as they were in 1991. Our Rod Maloney has a look back at, yes, the terror and tragedy of the day, but also the heroism, which is certainly worth remembering.
The shocking images from 30 years ago show emergency crews wading into chaos. Even some of the wounded ended up helping EMS. Shocked and frightened postal workers fled. A short brick wall in everyone's way. They had to lift the wounded over it to get to ambulances. Saddest of all, this 911 call from a bleeding postal supervisor named Rose Pruce.
Are you shot? Yes, I'm talking to him. Can you describe him? His name is Tom McElvain. Tom McElvain. Hurry up, I think I'm going to die.
She was one of 4 postal managers 31-year-old letter carrier Thomas McElvain killed that day. McElvain worked for Christopher Carlisle. And a government investigation found this murderous workplace rampage happened as the result of these 2 young, strong-willed military veterans clashing in explosive fashion. 33-year-old Chris Carlisle became Royal Oak Post Office manager of station, branch, and operations in 1990 from a similar job in Indianapolis. Chris's brother James recalls,
he was an outgoing guy, very friendly, enjoyed having fun, loved to parachute.
He'd earlier worked as a postal motor pool chief after 4 years as an Army mechanic. James remembers Chris telling him how the new Royal Oak postmaster tasked him with leading a turnaround.
The former manager there was not doing a good job, and so they were trying to find somebody that could do a good job to get that office up to par.
Federal investigators called Carlisle's management style autocratic, but those who worked for him, like union steward Charlie Withers, say it was far worse.
He used to say, I could put you out for any time I want, and you may lose your house, you may lose your family. In the long run, if you have to come back to work, I've won. That was the mentality.
Thomas McElvain received a less than honorable discharge from the Marines because he had problems dealing with superiors and wouldn't carry out orders. They repeatedly demoted him for insubordination. After the military, McElvain became a skilled martial artist and kickboxer who'd appeared on ESPN. Withers tells Local 4 McElvain's fiery temper attracted management attention.
They were going to use him as an example because he stuck up for himself.
McElvain received so many citations he wound up in arbitration, fighting to keep his job, a process that took more than a year. And during that time, McElvain began threatening managers, openly telling them if his appeals failed, he would attack. So when his firing became official, McElvain loaded his pockets with full rifle magazines, about 200 rounds, and then headed for the Royal Oak Post Office. He shot only 1 letter carrier that day, Associate Union Steward Clark French.
We heard a strange popping sound that was on the other side of the building.
McElvain first entered the loading dock with a raincoat covering a sawed-off Ruger 1022 hunting rifle. He went straight to Carlisle's office and shot and killed him instantly. McElvain then headed for the sorting room, where he saw French. French had been at McElvain's arbitration hearings, and McElvain wasn't happy with his union either. Clark never saw McElvain, though. Instead, he saw his supervisor take off running. Instinctively, he followed.
The next gunshot that was fired was the one that hit me.
Without a word, McElvain shot French in the back.
He was only a foot, maybe a foot and a half away from me when he shot me.
With McElvain's rage well known around the facility,
my very first thought was, I guess Tom lost his arbitration.
Shot just below his right arm, he stumbled out of the building.
I was terrified I was going to get shot again.
Instead, McElvain headed toward the postmaster's office. Inside one of the nearby union hearing offices was steward Charlie Withers, who'd propped a chair up against the doorknob.
We just heard several shots, and then Tom tried to get into the office I was in, and whoever it was at that time, I didn't know it was Tom, and we heard a clip drop out of his gun, and he loaded another clip, and then we heard him shooting next door. And he killed Keith Suzuki, another person in labor relations.
Shortly thereafter, McElvain shot and killed himself. Meantime, Clark French just kept running. 2 blocks away, he saw a friend from post office personnel.
I reached back to my wound and I showed her a handful of blood. And she didn't say a word. She just turned around, sprinted across the street to the restaurant to find a payphone there to call for help from me.
He collapsed on the Main Street sidewalk. It took an ambulance some time to get to him because they'd all been dispatched to the post office itself. After a dozen surgeries, 2 exceptionally painful months in the hospital, and a year of recovery at home, Clark French quit the post office and later became a civil engineer.
Now, Tom loaded the gun. He brought it to the office. He pointed at me and he pulled the trigger. So obviously I don't exonerate him from any of those actions. But the Postal Service and the upper management and mid-level management pushed him and twisted him.
Charlie Withers spent 15 years after the shooting writing this self-published book, The Tainted Eagle. He, too, puts the blame for McIlvaine snapping squarely on postal management.
I'm not endorsing that what he did was right, but they basically ruined his life.
As for Chris Carlisle and the other postal managers killed that day, James Carlisle has a vastly different message.
Anybody that goes out and kills people because they weren't they were let go of a job, they've got a mental problem. What he did was wrong. Chris didn't deserve that. He was doing the best job he could. None of the other people that got killed deserved being killed because somebody lost their job.
Our Rod Maloney reporting. Big thanks to him for putting that together. And our thanks to you for being with us for Flashpoint, an episode that we dedicate to the memory of Kelly Rossman McKinney, who passed away this past week. Her passionate yet savvy view of politics is what Flashpoint is all about. Kelly, we're going to miss you.